My rich friend had no time. I had no money. We were both trapped. My friend John made a lot of money, much more than me. He had a beautiful car, expensive suits, nice restaurants. From the outside, John looked free, but I started noticing something strange. John was always in a hurry. His phone never stopped. A message, a call, a meeting, then another one. He was always going somewhere, then rushing somewhere else. Back then, I thought being rich meant looking relaxed in expensive places. John taught me something different. You can order a very expensive dinner and still eat stress for dessert. He had money, but he didn't have time. And I had time, but I didn't have money. And that's when I realized something strange. We were both trapped, just in different cages. One was a golden cage, shiny, impressive, perfect from the outside, but still a cage. The other one was simpler, quieter, but still a cage. And both of us were inside. Let me tell you a story. One evening, we were sitting together at a very nice restaurant. Everything looked perfect. The lights, the table, the food. But John wasn't relaxed. He kept checking his watch, looking at his phone. His mind was somewhere else. "You're busy," I said. He smiled. "Always," he said. "You make more money than anyone I know," I said. "Are you happy?" He smiled again. "Of course I'm happy," he said. "I'm making great money." I paused. Then I asked, "Then why do you look tired all the time?" This time, the smile wasn't real. There was a short silence. Then he said, "Because I can't stop. If I stop, the money stops. And my life is expensive." In that moment, everything on the table stayed the same, but the meaning changed. "People think I'm rich," he said, "but the truth is, I can't stop." That sentence explained everything. John wasn't lazy. He wasn't foolish. He was just successful in a very exhausting direction. And to be honest, I used to admire that kind of life from a safe distance, usually from places where my wallet also felt safer. That night, I understood something important. There are two kinds of rich people: people who have money and people who have time. And if you have to choose time. When I was younger, I thought freedom would feel dramatic. A big house, a big number, a big moment. But freedom is much quieter than that. Sometimes it looks like an ordinary morning, where nobody is telling you where you must be. Freedom is invisible, but you can feel it when you wake up in the morning, and no one is asking anything from you. I asked Warren, "John makes a lot of money, but he can't stop. I make less money and I can't stop. So who is free?" Warren looked at me and said, "The one who can choose. Choose when to work. Choose where to live. Choose what to do with his day." Then he paused and added, "Freedom is not about money. Freedom is about control. Control over your time." I wanted something more complicated, something more impressive, but instead, he gave me something simple. "If you can't stop, you're not free." Then he said something else. "Some people build their cages out of gold, and then they call it success." In that moment, I thought about John, and I thought about myself. Money can buy comfort. Money can buy nice things, but money cannot buy freedom. If you need more money every month to maintain your life, that is the trap nobody talks about. Sometimes success does not make your life lighter. It makes your lifestyle heavier. Years passed. I built slowly. John kept running. Tom kept working. Olivia kept carrying more than she ever complained about. Leo kept growing. And little by little, I began to understand something. Freedom is not built by looking successful. It is built by needing less and owning more. For a long time, my financial life looked almost suspiciously boring. No luxury, no status, no dramatic upgrades, just slow progress, quiet decisions, and a man trying not to confuse movement with freedom. I had done that often enough already. When I was young, I thought freedom meant not working. Now, I know that's not true. Freedom means working because you want to, not because you have to. Some people have high salaries and no freedom. Some people have businesses and no freedom. Some people have fame and no freedom. Freedom is not visible, but you can feel it when you wake up in the morning. The goal is not to get rich. The goal is to be free. You know, after telling John's story, I kept thinking about something, because this episode was never really just about John, at least not completely. John was simply an example, a face, a life. What I truly wanted to talk about was the kind of life John represents, because the truth is, there are many people living like him today, especially in America. People with impressive incomes, impressive careers, impressive lifestyles, and deeply exhausted lives. A few years ago, if you told someone like me, a normal middle-class teacher, that a person making $500,000 a year could still feel financially trapped, I probably would not have believed you. Honestly, I used to think those people had solved life. I thought stress disappeared after a certain number. I thought freedom automatically arrived with a bigger paycheck. But life taught me something different. Not through books, not through theories, but through proximity. Sometimes, you only understand how a life truly feels when you become close to someone living it. And that person was John. From the outside, his life looked beautiful. The restaurants, the suits, the expensive watches, the nice apartment, the constant movement. But when you spend enough time around someone, you begin noticing things. You notice how often they check their phone, how rarely they truly relax, how difficult silence becomes for them, how even dinner starts feeling like a meeting. And eventually, you stop looking at the lifestyle and start looking at the person carrying it. Some of you might think I was jealous of John. That would not surprise me. To be honest, for a while, I thought I was too. I admired his life from a distance, his confidence, his money, the speed of his world. But the closer I got, the more something started feeling wrong, because underneath all the success, there was tension, restlessness, pressure, and a man who could never truly stop running. And once I saw that clearly, the jealousy disappeared very quickly, because I realized something important. There is a difference between admiring someone's lifestyle and wanting their nervous system. And today, many people, especially high-income professionals, are quietly destroying themselves trying to maintain lifestyles that looked exciting in the beginning. There is a phrase for this now: lifestyle inflation. As income rises, life expands with it. The house gets bigger, the car gets more expensive, The restaurants become more luxurious. The vacations become larger. The monthly obligations quietly multiply. And little by little, people stop owning their lifestyle. Their lifestyle starts owning them. And this is one of the modern traps nobody talks about enough. A few months ago, I came across a 2025 Goldman Sachs study, and honestly, the numbers shocked me. According to the report, among people making more than $500,000 a year, around 40% still describe themselves as living paycheck to paycheck. Think about that for a second. $500,000 a year, and still financial pressure, still stress, still the feeling that stopping is dangerous. Only around 27% said they felt truly strong financially, and many of the others described themselves as stuck somewhere in the middle. And the report pointed towards something very important: lifestyle inflation, debt pressure, the psychological cost of maintaining expensive lives. And suddenly, John no longer looked unusual to me. He looked modern, because there are many Johns now. Many. Doctors, lawyers, executives, finance professionals, business owners, people who look successful and truly are successful, but still feel trapped inside systems that became too expensive to leave. And if you are one of those people, especially if you work in one of those worlds, I genuinely hope you listen carefully to my story, because life-changing realizations might quietly find you here. The truth is, stress levels among high-income people today are extremely high. Burnout, mental exhaustion, anxiety, addiction, these things are becoming more and more common, and the psychology behind it is very interesting. Some people are no longer addicted to money. They become addicted to feeling important. Meetings, emails, phone calls, schedules, deadlines, constant movement. Eventually, the chaos becomes part of their identity, and then they no longer know how to stop. Silence starts feeling uncomfortable. Stillness starts feeling unproductive. Rest starts feeling guilty. And that is the psychological side of this story. Do you remember what I said about John earlier? John wasn't poor. John wasn't failing. John was successful, very successful. And that was the scary part. I truly believe all of us should think carefully about those words, because failure is obvious. Most people can recognize failure, but success can sometimes hide unhealthy lives inside beautiful packaging. And one of the reasons this channel exists is because of that. This channel was never created to make people obsessed with money, not to look rich, not for luxury. This channel exists to move people towards something else: financial freedom, the complete opposite of financial slavery. And the interesting thing is, the lessons I share here are not only useful for middle-income people, they are also deeply relevant for upper middle and even high-income lives, because money problems do not permanently disappear after a certain income level. Sometimes they simply become more expensive versions of the same emotional struggles: fear, pressure, comparison, identity, the need to prove yourself, the fear of slowing down, the fear of becoming irrelevant. And maybe that is why so many successful people still look exhausted all the time. You know, when I was younger, I thought freedom would look dramatic: a giant house, a luxury car, huge bank accounts. Now, I think freedom looks much quieter than that. I think freedom looks like waking up without panic, having control over your time, being able to slow down without your life collapsing. And over time, that became the kind of wealth I respected the most. Anyway, thank you for listening to my story tonight. I truly enjoy sharing this journey with you, and I hope you enjoy watching it as much as I enjoy telling it. And before I go, I want to give you a small hint about the next chapters of my life. In the coming episodes, something slowly begins to change. Very slowly. I begin taking action. I begin placing the very first bricks that eventually built the financially free version of Michael you know today. And honestly, I hope the things that illuminated my path might someday illuminate yours too. Take care of yourselves, everyone, and I'll see you in the next episode. Good night.